Agut Voch Raboisai. Ili Nishmas. Imi Merosi. Rus Bas Mordechai. Whose yard said it is right now, today. Shama should have an aliyah. On top of everything else, she was a tremendous balas chesed. She was the breadwinner in our home. My father has a shita. He doesn't take money for learning. So he wouldn't learn in the kollel. He wouldn't take any money for learning. So it fell on her. But she was the one that encouraged him and always pushed him. On top of being principal and this and side jobs, she used to clean people's homes. She was mevaker chayla, a lot of chesed, tremendous amount of chesed. Her neshama should have an aliyah. Hayoim tisha asur yoim sheim shnei shavuos v'chamisha yomim ba'omer or la'omer. The Sphere Soim is sponsored. Lilu nishmas Sarah aleha shalom bas yibadol chaim Reb David, a 10-year-old girl. Somebody sent me a very scary picture. Mamish, a scary picture. I never saw this. I just saw it now for the first time. Let me zoom in if I can. Or maybe I'll do this. Eli Stefansky, Gimel Iyar. So is a bacher. Whose yahrzeit is today. It was, well, now it's after Shkia. It was today. His neshama should have an aliyah. The son of Rabbi Yankov Stefansky. I don't know what this is. I remember visiting a young bacher in the hospital here in Eretz Yisrael with my father. He had the machla in his leg, but I don't know. I have no idea. We're all related, but the name is scary. The neshama should have an aliyah. Let me see. There's one. Hi, Rebelli. I'm a 17-year-old. You guys know I like these emails from younger bacherim that are learning Torah. A little extra. I'm a 17-year-old bacher in Lakewood and started the daf in the beginning of Bava Metzia. I have to say that I hardly learn Ben Azmanim Fridays when I come home from yeshiva and Shabbos. This past Ben Azmanim I learned every single day. Did I read this already? It just sounds like deja vu. I know I read the email like this, but it might be from someone else. This past Ben Azmanim I learned every single day, and also Fridays and Shabbos since I started the daf. That's one of the biggest smiles of Daf Yomi, that it's a Yomi. Thank you very much, as it really impacts my day, and Be'ez Hashem, I'll finish Bava Metzia with Rebbe. Shmuel Solny. It's mamish, almost word for word from that other one. Okay. Rabbi Isai, we have a beautiful daf today. We only have 3 daf left, and I'm starting to get the feeling that this trauma and this shem that Izu Neshech has was a little bit exaggerated, at least for me. I'm enjoying it. I don't see the difficulty. I'm sure there's sugyas that were a little bit more difficult than others, and perhaps some of them I didn't even understand, and I just sold lakshin to the olam. But all in all, it seems to be going very nicely. Omer Av Sheishis, Omer Avuna. We're holding Daf Ayin Beis Amud Beis, like 8 lines from the bottom. So Rav Sheishis says in the name of Rav Huna, and this is important to remember, it's Rav Huna. Ein loivin al shar shebashuk. So we know, we spoke about Psikoshal Peiros. Yeah, is that what we're holding? Oh, sponsors. Thank you. The Masech is sponsored by Anonymous for the safe and speedy return of all the hazard. I'm just in a rush because Motzi Shabbos, the Hebrew speakers, they start showing up. And their shir starts at 1:45. And they don't always come exactly at 1:45. They come like a few minutes before. And it starts getting a little hectic here. Pressure is on. Anonymous is saying, and as is, I know Menachem Ateh wanted me to start early and on time, and I tried, and I missed things, and I looked, Kitzer, it's not Pasha Matzah Shabbos. Sech the Anonymous for the safe and speedy return of all the hostages. Rabbi Isai, if you're here in Bet Shemesh, the entire Shabbos, you heard bombings going on in Gaza. It should go well for them. There shouldn't be any more tragedies for our Chayalim. We're living it. We hear it the entire day. No? You guys heard it? Everybody heard it.
Hear the pain and then hear the bomb. I felt it.
You felt it. Rabbi Schoenberg felt it. And you feel it. In America, you're living a different world. Our brothers, they don't know what we went through that night when 300 missiles were coming towards us. And it's hard to describe. You heard it, Eitan?
I loved it every minute.
That part is, yeah. But you know that the people, our soldiers, are in grave danger right now. They had a lot of time to prepare, and that's why we have to learn. And that's one of the the main reason why I started the Hebrew Shir, and I'm very happy I did, was because they were doing the operations at night, and I said the little I could do is learn and increase Torah at that point. So Baruch Hashem, it should go well, and people should have in mind, it should be a schus, that we shouldn't hear any more tragedies, because it was a while already that we didn't hear, hutar lepirsum, another one, 4. And we had, Rahman Salan, on Friday, I think it was 4, and it's scary times. Omer Rav Sheish Omer Rav Huna, Ein loivin al shar shebashuk. Oh, no more sponsors. Yosef. And the coffee corner, thank you, Vladislav Sakharov, and the schut that I finally find a job. All right. So here we are. Let's just to go over this. Poiskin al ashar. What's poiskin al ashar? You're permitted to give money in advance and receive a product later on. Okay, we discussed a lot of it throughout Ezunesha. I give today, on the first day of Nisan, I give $100. The product goes up in value. By the 20th of Nisan, it goes up in value, and I didn't receive the product yet. I'm allowed to receive the product even though it's worth more. That's not ribis, on condition, one of two things. Either yeshloi, the guy selling it has it in stock, or yotza hashar, there's a steady market and the price is known and it's locked in, and that allows us, it's as if the deal happened on the 1st, not on the 20th, because you could do it, you have the ability to do it, fine. So that Rav Huna says, this case right over here is more of a mekach umemkar. It's a sale. I'm buying wheat, I'm selling wheat. But what if you translate this to money? I borrow $100, I'm not buying anything, and I say, listen, I'll try to pay you back $100. But if I can't get you $100, I want to give you wheat instead. I'll pay you back in wheat. Almost this case, just it's a loan versus a sale. The leikach, the guy on the left, is borrowing $100, or the tagar, I should say, is borrowing $100 versus selling something for $100. We know that there's a big difference when it comes to ribis. A loan is ribis, mekach umemkar is not so much ribis. So that's why Rav Huna says, Ein loivim al shar shebashuk. You're not allowed to pay back with fruit that's worth more today. How could you, Rav Sheshes, say this in the name of Rav Huna? Rav Huna never said it. They asked Rav Huna, these yeshiva boys, the Yasvit Tishrei, they borrow money in Tishrei in the beginning of the year by Rosh Hashanah time, upari b'tevis, and later on they pay with fruit in the price of Tishrei. Sharia Yasir, Amalahu, Hachite behine v'hachite b'shile. We had this lashon before. You could buy in Tishrei. The guy could have bought his wheat then. So he's not gaining anything by getting the wheat at a cheaper price today. He himself, what happened? He had money in his pocket. Instead of purchasing wheat in Tishrei, he gave the money as a loan to a yeshiva guy. He did him a favor. Yeshiva guy goes, and they make a deal. The yeshiva guy says, listen, if I can't pay you in cash, I'll give you a bunch of wheat. Now, the guy giving the loan, he could buy the wheat today. Instead of giving a loan, he could purchase the wheat at a cheap rate. Now the yeshiva guy is giving him wheat at the cheaper rate. He didn't gain anything from the yeshiva guy. He could have done it himself. So he says, the guy giving the loan could have done it himself. The yeshiva guy didn't give him anything. It's not, okay, you're right, the wheat went up in price today. He didn't receive $120 worth of wheat, although he did, but he could have purchased it for $100. So he gained $0. So you see, the Rav Huna holds this is allowed. Mikar Sal Rav Huna ein loivin. In the beginning, Rav Huna held you cannot give the Shama Lahadam Rav Shmuel Bar Chia Amar Blazer loivin. Amar Yunami loivin. He heard from someone else that you could do it, so he retracted, and that's how he passed it. Story is as follows. You have here in Eretz Yisrael, you have a sroigim that's cheaper than in America, right? Cheaper than in Chutz La'aretz. So guy goes, let's assume that's the case. Okay, matzah. Talk about a sroigim. Cheaper over here. They grow them here, they're cheaper. So guy says, look, I see you're about to board a plane with 100 esrogim. Why do you have to do that? I'm going to go. I'll take your esrogim to America for you. I'll sell them over there. And whatever you're going to make in America with the higher price, I'll give you. I'll pay you back later when I get back. Why is he doing it? Because he doesn't have any money. Another yeshiva guy, right? A yeshiva guy doesn't have any money. So he says, I'll take the Soichers esrogim. I'll bring them to America. I'll sell them in America. And let's say the guy they cost $100 an esrog here in Israel. In America, you can sell them for $200. I'll give him $200 per esrog when I come back after Sukkot. Oh, he gets money in America. He has thousands of dollars he could do other mischur with. Correct, but he has a month for the time. He has a month of that's a business. Everybody likes that. A lot of companies, they take your money and they don't give it back for a day. That day, what do they do? He could invest it in the stock market. He has other stuff. He buys electronics over there and he brings them back. Remember telephones? We used to bring back telephones and make a few bucks. Whatever, shirts. Israeli guys, they like the white shirts in America. You bring them back over here. Real quickly, he makes his money and then he gives the guy all his $200 per esrog. Mutter or aser? Mutter. Okay? So, depends. Oh, Melech already read the whole sefer over there, but he knows about that. Hamoylech Havila, we're going to see in a second. Hamoylech Havila Mamakam Lamakam. Matzoy Chaver Vamerloi Tanoli. What? You're going to bother getting on a plane? Get off a plane? I'll do all the work for you. Tanoli, give me this sroigim. I'll do the work. I'll make a stand. I'll sell them in the street on 13th Avenue. And all the money I'm going to bring back to you after Yontif. So it depends. Daf Ein Gimel Amud Aleph. B'shus Moicher Mutter. If this guy, I'm fixed, the Bala is sroigim, he says, I'm taking full responsibility. If it's difficult to go in there. We had, I got, what is it called? Entry to America. What is it called?
Global entry.
Global entry. I had global entry. One day I come in there with my family and the dog sniffs and they catch, we had like pastrami. So when I started telling them, this pastrami is from Chicago and we're just bringing it back. Look, it says Romanian. No. You said, you declared there's no meat. We caught you with the sandwich. So the guy says, listen, your global entry, I'm going to revoke your global entry. Oh, Maisa. But it's regular the same thing. You bring fruit in from Eretz Yisrael. It's all over. That the dog smells it in a second from a mile away. Do not bring apples or nothing from Eretz Yisrael. Especially if you're from, they lock in on you. If you have seeds, all the pitzuchim, don't bring any pitzuchim. Whole line, I'm not kidding. One time, almost everybody online was from. You say, okay, you're from, you probably brought pitzuchim, you probably brought some fruit, I don't know what. What is it called? When they go after a certain group of people.
Racism.
No. Profiling. They profile from people's. Al Sheken, Al Shalah, we spoke about it a different time. But the bottom line is, I take a chrayas. If they stop you at the border in America and they take away the sroigim, I take full responsibility for everything. So it is b'shus moicher mutter. Why? So now it's really fixes all the way from Eretz Yisrael through America, through the sale, on 13th Avenue, When it's sold for that amount, for $200, then I, the yeshiva guy, I take a loan from Noam Fix, $200. But the loan happened after the sale of the esrog. Why? Because Noam Fix takes responsibility from the beginning all the way to that. But if I say, listen, from here on out, give me all the esrogim from this point on the flight, everything, it's mine. Also, then it's ribis. Why? Because I'm taking something that's worth. I could buy a esrogim here in Israel for $100. So why am I paying you $200? Think about it. Mr. Yeshiva guy here in Israel in Ben Gurion Airport could buy as many esrogim as he wants for $100 a piece. So why in the world is he paying this soicher non-fixed $200 per esrog? Ribis, he wants to use the money, agar notar, he wants to use the cash that he makes off these esrogim in America. So that's why it's also. Next. Now we're talking about the famous case. We had it 25 times. Talk about it again. Sa b'sa. It's also to borrow a certain amount of fruit. This case right over here. Oh, I didn't show it to you. Sa b'sa. Here. It's also to borrow that amount and return that amount because it could go up in price. Again, there's a guy transferring fruit from one place to another. His friend says, why are you bothering bringing it up there? Give me the fruit over here. I have fruit up there, and we'll do a trade. So again, that's one of the conditions on sa b'sa. It's interesting because we were talking up until now psika ala peiros. Psika ala peiros is a forward contract, and that there's two conditions that, not two conditions together. One of the two is enough to make it mutter, yeshloi and yotza ashar. Now we're using this yeshloi on a different case, on sa b'sa, which actually we mentioned before we even started Ezrin Neshech when we spoke about sa b'sa. Yeshloi, the Mishnah later with the key, with the sun, if you have it, it's just locked up, you can't get Yeshloi. If he has it in that other city, Boisimakoi motor. Bimlav, Asur. If not, we're concerned for ribbis. Rabbi Isai is a very interesting halacha. Typically speaking, ribbis means agar notar. I'm using your money for a little bit of time, and for that usage of time, I give you extra on your money. What if I want your money not to use it I want your money to look wealthy? So people think that I'm a hacker. They'll treat me differently. If you pay in advance, they'll give you a better price. We said, typically speaking, if there's two prices to an object, to an item, it's a problem. And if everybody knows that there's two prices, even if you only mention one, it's still a problem. Huh? Okay, like a lot of things. Correct, like Arnona. They have a heter risk, don't worry about it. If you pay now, you get one price. You pay later, different price. So, you pay now, the chamarim, these donkey drivers, they'll give you a better price. It's not a problem. Why? My time. The donkey driver, he wants to look like he's a wealthy businessman. He has a lot of money. So the wholesalers treat him differently. Look, he flashes all this cash. So the cash is to look good. So he's not giving you a better price because he's using your money, la'agar nater. He just wants to look better. When they hear that he gave a really cheap price, the wholesalers feel bad for him, so they drop the price for him. They know him already. Nebuch. He took a very shvacha price, but he has to make money. What, he's not going to make money? Okay, so he drop it even more. He appreciates that. What's the difference between the two different svaras? If he's brand new, he's a greener, this is his first time on the job. If he shows up with a lot of money, then they respect him. But if he's trying to get a better deal because he messed up on the price and he gave a shvacha price, they're not going to give him a good price. He's new. They don't have any respect for him. Maybe he won't show up again. If you're a guy that's doing business with them for a long time and you messed up, you give a lower price, they'll give you even a lower price. You can make some sort of money over there. Says the Gemara, another story. It's very interesting sugya. We're going from thing to thing to thing. Shapsikon just walked in. He came all the way from Beitar. Brand new sugya right now, special for him. Besura Azli Arba. In Surah, I don't have the real map, but okay. You could just see where Surah is exactly. That's Rav was from Surah. We all know Rav's from Surah. Where exactly? This other place is not exactly sure, but somewhere else. So in Surah, it's a big city, big price. As the arba, for a buck you get 4. Bekafri also shita. You get for $1 you get 6. Yoiv Rav Zuzi lechamore. This is a big theme in Ezu Neshech, that when you accept upon yourself, Einzim, as we said on the top line in this Amud, B'rshus Moicher, you accept upon who's responsible. That's what we need to know. Rav said, I'm responsible. I'm responsible means you're the owner. You're the owner all the way from Kafri. Wherever Kafri is, Rav owns all the product. Kafri, how much could you get for $1? 6. So how much should Rav pay for his stuff? 6. He should get, for $1, he should get 6. Says the Gemara, Yoiv Rav Zuzah Chamar v'kabel alei unta ducha v'shokem minayu chamsha. He only took 5. As the Gemara v'nishkol shita, but he deserves 6. He took all the responsibility all the way from Kafri. Adam chashav shani. A person who's chashav is different. He has to act differently. Shouldn't be any kind of chashash that maybe he's doing something wrong. So here's just a saying in Hebrew. Nechmad liot ish chashuv, aber yoter chashuv liot ish nechmad. Regarding Adam chashuv. Okay? You understood it? Not. Eitan, you want to explain?
No.
Okay.
I don't know.
It's nice to be a chashuv a person, but it's more chashuv to be a nice person. Something like that. By minei Rabbi Asi Rabbi Yochanan. Mal lasois begrutois came. To do what the donkey drivers did, to sell cheap when you get money up front. And the whole reason is, why? Because they want to look wealthy. They want to look like they have a lot of cash on them, so they get better deals from the wholesaler. What about if you're not dealing really with fruit, you're dealing with scrap metal? So now, nowadays, scrap metal is a big business. In those days, a few metal this, a few gold that. There's not a big market for that. He tried to do the same trick with clothing made out of flags. Rabbi said, no. There's no markets for that, and therefore, you can't say the same svaras. It's actually in the exact question of the Gemara with scrap metal. Another sugya. Pardeso. So, there's different stages, obviously, in the grape. Let's say in stage 2, smodar, basically something like that. It's like, you could see that there's a future grape over here, but it's very, very far from being a grape. From here until grape, in stage G, is Eitan G. So in stage G, a lot of things can go wrong, right? A nice little cold. It could be cold weather. This way, too much rain, too little. I don't know. A lot of things. Bugs. Great. Yeah, a lot of stuff. So I'm going to pay less today, and you're going to give me more tomorrow. What's the halacha? So, but all you have is this. Typically, we say yeshloi. He has it in stock. Great. But what does he have? He doesn't have grapes. He has stage B. Well, what is that? It's nothing. Has potential. Is potential yeshloi? I finish Shas. I could. I have potential. I could sit here and learn every day, but I don't. So it's yeshloi. So we have to know. Rav Asar Ushmul Shari. Rav says that's nothing. Shmuel says it's perfect. Rav Asar Kivin Dilkamei Shavi Tvei Mischazik Hager Notarle. It's kedai to remember. We're almost finished, so kedai to remember this because it's not really brought up that many times. But you want to sound like you know what you're talking about. So when people say Ager Notar, yeah, you know what they're talking about. Ager Notar is schar for waiting. So this looks like you're getting. Why is he giving you perfect grapes, and he's only charging you for almost nothing? The answer is because he's using your money now. He loves it. He takes cash today, $1 million today, and he gives you $2 million worth of grapes tomorrow. So it's Agar Notar. Shmuel Shari. No, Shmuel says no, it's not a problem. You're right, he gave you $1 million and you're giving him $2 million worth of grapes. Since there's so much that could go wrong here, and at the end he's taking a big risk. He's giving. That's what life is all about. That's what business is all about. You're checking if the cahoot is okay. Was that okay? Uh-oh. You got to warn me what the cahoot is all about. I don't want to mess up. You take a big risk, you get a big reward. I'm taking a risk on your baby grapes. I'm giving you $1 million because it could go five. It'll be worth $0. So that's why you're giving me $2 million later on. But it's not Agar Notar. Omer Rav Shimi bar Chio u'moidi Rav b'toirei. Okay, something like this. When the oxen go through, like in those days, the tractor, they had a vehicle where you're going to schlep all the grapes, go back and forth, so you use an animal. The problem with the animal is that the animal is going to step on grapes, destroy grapes. And also the animal himself, Rashi over here says, is going to destroy his own feet. We had before in the beginning of the Masechta, somewhere else in the Masechta, where the animal destroys the grapes also. Rashi doesn't bring it here. The point is that there's other losses. Other losses, you're not going to pay that much for the grapes. Okay, new sugya, another new one. Those who lend the seeds to the sharecroppers. So we're going to see that it depends on the minhag HaMakom. The way it worked, you owned the field, but you didn't want to work the field. You brought in a farmer, he did all the work, and he shared with you the profits. A third, 50%, whatever it is. Some places the farmer pays for the seeds. Some places the owner of the field pays for the seeds. You're lending him seeds. When he pays you back the seeds, Rabbi said, I want you to think about this for a second. Think. Don't stop. Very simple question. You gave him a box of seeds, and he pays you back a box of seeds. What kind of isser could that be? Saw. Very good. Okay, we're at the end of Ezunesh. We need to know this. If I tell you he gave you a box of fruit or a box of wheat, and he paid you back a box of wheat, you'd all say saw. If I say seeds, all of a sudden you get confused. Same thing. A box for a box. I lend you a box and you return a box, that's saw. How do I get out of this? He tells the owner of the field who lent the seeds, go ahead and do some work in the field. Let's say work this 4x4 area. Now this 4x4 is exclusively yours, not the sharecroppers. And that will be your payment for the seeds. Typically speaking, you get 2/3 of the field. Now you're going to get 2/3 plus this 4x4 area, which is going to pay you for your seeds. Otherwise, you have a problem of saw. Viloi. Then you're lending him the seeds. And he's paying you back seeds. Saw. Another one. Where's Rabbi Steiner? This guy watching the field. So the way it works is as follows. The guy watches the field, let's say, until Pesach. The guy that owns the field doesn't have the money to pay him. Number one expense, salaries. So he says, listen, I'm sorry. This is the minhag now. None of my friends paid their watch guys. I'm going to pay you. But you have to wait a month. You wait a month. I'm going to sell some of the cucumbers, the stuff, and then I'm going to pay you. But I'm going to pay you because I was wrong and I didn't pay you today. I owe you $1,000. I'm going to pay you $1,100. What is that called? Hill's on top of it. You're doing a lot of chazar these days. Coming to the koila, learning. Look at that. Mamash, 2 for 2. Agar Notar. That's mamish schar agar notar. Because you shomer with the big gun, you waited an extra month to get paid. You took, instead of $1,000, you took $1,100. You waited a month, you got an extra $100. Big problem. How do I get out of that problem? I don't have the money. None of us. All of the farmers in the entire Eretz Yisrael, we don't have money. So what are you going to do? It's not just me, it's everybody. And you kind of know that that's how it's going to be. I'm not getting into the halachas exactly, b'schari titain, b'yomi titain zchari, etc. Okay. So he says, it's puku hafoichu b'vei darei. You, shomer, keep on working there. Do something. Turn something. Pretend you're there. And memela kegedel shtalim schiros ditchu ad ahi shata. Therefore, you're still working through Pesach, through everything, through the Omer till Shavuos. Why? Because you moved the shovel this way and then you turned the dirt that way. And memela, I don't owe you the money until the end, and for that you get paid $1,100. And then I'm already giving you a bonus. I'm not paying you for waiting. I'm just giving you extra money. Fine. That's the way to get out of it. I don't know if it works so well in English, but it was so geschmack in Hebrew, I gotta say it over. If you guys get it, get it. Not. This Yid told the captain of the cruise, he said, there's a whole cruise from guys, whatever. At the end of the day, if you do a good job, every single one of us, I'll make sure every single one of us in the cruise gives you a $100 tip. It's okay. So the guy, mamish, he worked hard. He went out of his way, stayed up nights, and got the whole crew to. But he's not stopping. He knew. So the last day, as everybody's debarking, is it called? Disembarking. He went to the front, to the door over there, and he's waiting for this guy to give a tip. Nobody. Everybody said, thank you. Finally, the last guy, he looked, okay, maybe now. Thank you, shkoyach, and the guy gets off and leaves. 20 seconds later, he comes back around and says, oh, yeah, I forgot. I have a $50,000 check for you. Here. So he said, listen, I don't know if you Jews, you killed Yoshka. That I don't know. But one thing for sure, you took it out of his neshama. Okay. It works much better in Hebrew. Set them not neshama. Oy we only have 15 minutes. Only Rabbon of the Rava. Kachem Aribis. So the Rabban tell Rava, Rebbe, what's wrong with you? You're doing ribis. Why? Everybody gives him 4 and they get rid of him in Nisan. You wait until a month later, Here, Mamish, we're in Iyar right now, right? V'shokal shita, and you take 6. No. Right? So the extra 2 is Agar Notar. No, what you're doing is wrong, not me. This field really is, he has a lien on the field. If you get rid of him in Nisan, the wheat didn't have its full potential. It didn't grow completely. So you're making the sharecropper also lose part of the wheat. I wait patiently until Iyar. So we all gain. The wheat is more, and therefore you get paid more, you get more. Says the Gemara, Daf Yomi Beis. Oh, sponsor. By Eric Adelman of Bigger Cup Consulting, and by Chanie and Paul Schuster with Hakaras Hatov to Fishel, Simcha and Ner Tamid for bringing rebellion, MDY and DafYomi into our lives. Yeshar Koyach. Rav Mori Bar Rachel Mashkin Liyahu Nochri Beisa. So first of all, most of the times it says Rav Mori Bar Rachel. Rashi goes through the whole thing. It's a very, very sad story where the famous Shmuel, the Galadar, his daughter was captured by the Goyim and she became pregnant. And she had Rav Mori from that pregnancy. But it happens to be that the captor, he converted later on and he married her. This is the first time I actually pictured it. Shmuel, the Galadar, bringing in his new son-in-law, the rapist, who became a guy, who became a ger into shul. I mean, sitting there saying Shalom Aleichem. It's a scary situation. But I don't know how many choices she had. She was pregnant already, and okay, she decided to marry him. So we don't mention his name. His name is Isser Giyora. We don't mention it. It's not a covet for Rav Mari. But Rav Mari is brought down many times in Shas. Rav Mari, Mashkin Liyahu Nochri Beiso. So it goes something like this. This guy had a house, and Rav Mari gave him money. And because he gave him money, he only gave him money because he gave him a house. Oops, I went too far. The house moves on its own. I didn't have to click. Okay. So now Rav Mari is living in this house. Because the borrower is a guy, so the borrower, the guy, will return the full amount of money, plus Rav Mari gets to live in the house rent-free. Typically, from a Jew, you're not allowed to do that. That would be ribis. And what do? Something called nachyasa. We chop down from the total loan, whatever the value of the rent is, we take off the loan. But he's a guy, so I can live in the house and great. Rava didn't know about this. Rava didn't know that Rav Mari has a mashkin. He doesn't know anything. The Nachri puts up a for sale sign, Cheverman. He knows he's not getting much from his house. It's already by Rav Mari, so he sells it. He sells it to Rava. So the house really should be by Rava. Says the Gemara, Hodor Zavna Rava. The guy sells the house to Rava. Rav Mari, says the Gemara, Notar Tresar Yarchi Shato. He waited 12 months. Shokal Agar Beisa. He took the rent of the following year. Amti le Rava, and he goes and he pays Rava. Omerlei, the reason why I didn't pay you up until now, the Stamish Kanta Shato. We learned this. A mashkoy and a collateral is a year. Therefore, if the guy wanted to prepay the loan early, he could prepay it early, but he can't take the house back for a full year. I got a mashkin for a year. It's my right to live in this house for a full year. So I don't have to pay rent for that year. Next year is a different thing. Since next year he could prepay, he could pay back the loan, and then I'll lose the house. He kick me out. So I have to pay rent to Rava. If the guy wanted to kick me out of the house, he couldn't. I have a whole year. And now I want to give you the rent of the house in case this guy throws me out. I'm going to pay you for the whole year. If had I known that you were involved over here, I wouldn't have bought it. Taisus goes into the whole thing that we have a concept of, and we spoke about it also in this parak, that if you have collateral, you could be a dino de bar metzra, hill 3 for 3. Chazara. Dina Stam is about Kishon. Bar metzra. Dina de bar metzra. What's bar metzra? Since he's involved in this house, he gets to buy it first from the guy. Rav is saying, if had I known that you're involved, I wouldn't have bought the house. So, nevertheless, says Rava Hashta Kidinei Avdinullah, I'm going to treat you like as if they were doing the local customs of the Goyim. I don't own the house. I'm going to pretend I do own the house, but I'm going to pretend that the guy still is involved over here. And as long as he doesn't pay back the loan, you get to stay in the house for free. I don't want rent. Stay in this house rent-free. Until the guy pays you back completely, I'm not taking any rent. Another sugya. So look at these rabbanim. These terrible rabbis. They take ribbas. This is mamish psikol aperis. Psikol aperis. I am buying wine today in Tishrei, and I'm going to get the wine later on in Teves. Now, how can you do psikol aperis? Rabbi say one of two things: either yeshloi or yotz ashar. Omerlei inunami achamriko yavi. She says, since there's a very high chance that the wine will spoil, and therefore we're dealing with a riba situation here. So he says, no. They paid for wine, they didn't pay for vinegar. Mikar the chamra chamra, the chalo chalo. It happens to be that you could tell right away. It's almost like the Gemara says about children. You look at a child, at a 2-year-old, you see exactly what his midas are going to be when he's 50 years old. You see the stubbornness, you see the kas, you see everything. Human beings, that's how they are. The Gemara says, right? Whatever the lashon over there is. What's the lashon? Whatever. Okay, fine. You look at a child, you see. Over here, you look at the wine, and you see that it is stamazoi. It's our avodah, that's pasha, and you see it all over and over and over. We are born with bad midas, all of us. Different bad midas. Each person has different bad midas. Our job is to work on our midas. That's the Vilna Gaon says that's our main tachlis in this world, is to work on avodas hamidas. So, the chal chala ishato hu de kamavcharei. So it's not pshat that he's taking a different wine. The wine that becomes vinegar is vinegar. That's from day one. He chose the good wine. Ravina havi yavi yav zuzi libnei akro deshan vasa v'shavchilei tfei kufisa. Again, this is psika lepeiros. He would give money to these people that were by the port of Shanvasa. And they would give him extra. So this is actually a purchase. And on a purchase, they would give him a little bit more. They would give him like whatever kufisa is, a certain amount. Also, it's mutter. There's a mechila here. So Rashi here says, if you look, Rashi right next to where the Gemara is, and Rashi says, they don't mention anything about I'm giving you extra because we had the money. No, it's a matana balmi. It's just a matana. So this very important to remember. You cannot give just a matana when it comes to rivers. I'm just giving the guy that lent me $1 million and giving you a beautiful shalchmanas, a $500 shalchmanas. It doesn't work like that. That's awesome. But since this is a mekach memkar, this is a sale, and you don't mention anything, okay. Omerlei ho'aro lav didu he. The problem is, wait a minute, it's not even their land. Omerlei aro l'taskim shabdo. The land has a lien for taxes. And the king said, the king said, whoever pays the taxes, tax sale, Shema Yisrael, he gets it. Look at this. They're taking these people, they pay their head taxes. Each person has a tax he has to pay every year. And those people that are not paying the taxes, they grab them and they use them as slaves. And it seems like tfei, a little bit too much. Worked them too hard. Amalei, hashto ichu shviv shechiva loy amiluchu amilsa. Listen to this lashon. Hashto ichu shchiva. Had I died right now, loy amiluchu amilsa. Unbelievable. Had I died and you wouldn't have mentioned this, I wouldn't have told you this beautiful halacha. I would have gone to my grave with this halacha, and nobody would have known about this forever. Hachi Omer Rav Sheshes. Merikayu daniv betafso. This stamp of slavery, the hanib betafso the malkamanach. It's in the box of the king. In other words, all these people were all slaves of the king. It's like mamish to Rebbeinu Shlomo, but to a physical king. Umalko Amar, and the king said, "You want a slave? If whoever pays this tax gets these slaves, we didn't enslave them. The king enslaved them. We're just taking them from the king." Rav Soirim Achud Rava. Listen to this. Rav Soirim was the brother of Rava. Murdik. Here, beautiful picture. Mamish explains the whole sugya. You see that? That's Rava's wagon. Rava's inside there. You can see the silhouette. And Rav Soirim, if somebody wasn't very good, wasn't kind of the mitzvahs, took him, made him into a horse. Schlep the Rava's wagon. That's it. There's a Maisa with the Rebbe Kiva and the Nesivas. They came into a town on a horse and buggy together. And the people from the town, this tremendous, covered chachamim, they came, they greeted them. And the people, they took off the horses off the wagon, and they started pulling the wagon. And eventually they come into the city and they open up the doors and there's no Rabbi Akiva Eiger, no Nesivos inside. What happened was the Rabbi Akiva Eiger saw that the schlepping, so Rabbi Akiva jumped out and he started pulling for the Nesivos. He said, they're probably schlepping it for the Nesivos. The Nesivos also jumped out. He thought that they're doing it for the Rabbi Akiva Eiger. The kids are, nobody's in there, they're all schlepping an empty wagon. Okay? Guarka the Rava, you hear this? People that loy malu, that's how they kept everybody on the derech, on the straight and narrow. If you go off the derech, you become a horse. You don't ask any shilas. They take you, they grab you, they tie you to a wagon, go. Amalei Rava Shapir Koavad. Rava says, beautiful what you did. I love it. They pulled Givaldik. The Tanina. It says, you see someone not acting nicely. How do you know they could be Mishavim? Here's the pasuk. Is it? Parshas Bahar, it says over here. Yeah. Right? This is the snacht over there. No, we're going to read it differently. You could work them and also your brother. Maybe even a good guy, you could just grab him and work him. So you need the bottom. It says you're not allowed to work a guy. It seems like you could work him like easy, but not hard. We have 2 minutes. You give money to your friend. You're saying, you're going over there? The wine is really cheap now. Do me a favor, buy me a bunch of wine. He says, no problem, of course. You're going to pee up, whatever it's called over there. It's a big sale. Yeah, I'll buy you. And he didn't buy you. Does he owe you anything? Not really. But in certain cases, he does. If you were soymach on him and you made some sort of deal, or possibly zovenle, mishalim le kidikol ozal aparvosa the zulfshot. Zulshpot. Here, we got a picture of Zulshpot. Here. It's the port over there where all the wine comes in. So the price is really, really cheap. Since you took a responsibility, somehow you did some sort of thing, you have to make it up to him. You have to give him the wine at a cheap price. If a person points to, I want this dafka, this bottle. No, he doesn't have to give it to you. Why? Who said he'll ever be able to make a deal? Wine in general, yes. And this is very important for all of Shas, and we had it a few times already. The shliach thought he could do his job, but he didn't. That's an asmachta. Asmachta lo ikanya. You can't force something like that. A lot of times you think, I'm going to be nice to the guy. I'll do it. I'm going to be there. And then it slips your mind. So for that, you're going to be mechayiv. It's an asmachta. He wanted to, and it didn't work out. But there is, you see that sometimes you do have to pay, even though it's an asmachta. I said, I'm going to work your field, and at the end I didn't. So you mechayiv him to pay as the best stuff. Says Gemara B'yadai. When it was 100% in his hand and he didn't do it, then you have to pay. It's not asmachta. Hachalai B'yadai. Over here, when you're buying stuff, who said they'll sell it to you? So maybe it's not 100% in your hand. You could rely on the asmachta thing. Rabbi Sai, have a wonderful evening, a wonderful week.